and of course, cotton. It was a very troubled time for this country and for these new arrivals. They went through all types of hardships, brutal treatments, sickness, disease. Truly, our ancestors suffered greatly. And they did this throughout the 17th and the 18th century. But then in 1776, the country was declared free from Britain. And I would have you know that the first man to die for the freedom of this country was Crispus Attucks, a black man. And so it took a long time for the blacks to become free. But I'll have you know that we made an economy for this country and made it superior to any other country on the face of this earth. And they did that with hundreds of years of free labor. And can you imagine, just for a moment, if you worked from sunup to sundown, you and your husband and your children for hundreds of years. Can you imagine what we would have by now? But they tell me that they can't pay reparations. But they can build walls. They can separate children from parents. They can go all over the world starting needless wars. They can pay each other trillions of dollars in bonuses and increases. And I have you know that a lot of the colleges were built on slave labor. They are just now at a point that they are beginning to pay descendants of the slaves for all that work. Truly a troubled time in our country. And I would have you know that in the 18th century, in the 1800s, we really went through turmoil. But then we were freed. In 1863, when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, I don't know how many of you know about Watch Night. Because you know, in churches, we gather on New Year's Eve. And then people of other persuasions have asked, what are they gathering for? And they have all these New Year's Eve parties and the bomb falls on Times Square. But I want you to know it didn't have nothing to do with a party. It was when blacks gathered in churches to watch and wait for news that the proclamation would be signed. And indeed, on January the 1st, news did come to the churches that they were free. But then we were not all free. Because down in Galveston, Texas, those people were not free. They didn't get the word until June 19th, 1865, when General Gordon Granger rode into town with General Order Number 3. And you know, there are several different reasons out about why it took so long. Somebody said that a runner was supposed to deliver the message and something happened to him. Somebody else said the plantation owners didn't want them to know. But it just seemed so strange that they kept people in slavery 2.5 years after it was over. Can you imagine? And I had the occasion to visit Galveston, a quiet little quaint town off the coast. And I have a friend, she's here today, probably doesn't even know where we are up here, but she gave me a lot of the history on Galveston. And she told me, you know what, the village is gone, just like so many other places that we had a village, and I sure miss the village, y'all. But she said that there were black shops and businesses and everything. And they were a very proud people, and what I call my mighty people. Because certainly there is no other race on the face of this earth that had to endure anything like we did and come through. Not even one. Not even all these 100 years. The greatest Holocaust the world has ever known. All of the millions of men and women that came across. And some of the figures have it as high as 12 million that started out with 2 million lost in the Middle Passage. Can you just imagine that for 1 minute? And here in this country, all of the inventions, all of the creations, everything that we gave. And you know, it reminds me of back in the 1920s when we had what they call the riots. But those people were not rioting. It was a massacre. They burned down all black cities in one day in Tulsa. Just because they said a black man got on the elevator and said something to a white woman. And so he was arrested and tried. And word got out that they were going to go to the courthouse and get him out and lynch him. And some black men found out about it who were veterans of World War I. And they stood up for him. But still a confrontation ensued. And shooting started. And eventually they darn near burned the whole town down. And the blacks that were trying to escape their burning homes were shot down. And you know, that was sad. But that wasn't the only occasion. Because it happened in other places. In Rosewood, Florida. When a white woman said a black man had beat her up. And come to find out, it was her boyfriend while she was trying to cheat on her husband. They burnt Rosewood down. And it was not uncommon for them to burn down a whole town. And see, Rosewood was a black town. And so when I think about everything that went on in the 20s, it was disheartening for me. And even from the 1930s to the 1960s, we get into the Green Book. And I don't know if you're familiar, but black people couldn't travel in certain places. They couldn't stay at the hotels. And so a man named Mr. Green from New York came out with the Green Book. And it was to let them know where they could stay, where they could eat, where they could buy gas. In a country that they had fought for and died for in every war. And it was sad. It was so sad, and that went on to the 60s, and that brings me to the 1960s. Mass confusion. The demonstrations, the sit-ins, the protests, the marches. And you know, I was in some of those marches. We marched in Washington, D.C. with Jesse Jackson, the Poor People's Campaign. But you know what? I felt sort of detached when I marched on Washington. I thought about the march I did right here. And you know, we marched for what was then called Northwestern Park. It's now C.T.H. Watkins. And we marched from there to the governor's mansion. And it was hot. And we marched past dogs and fire hoses, just like in the South. So you don't hear about the stuff that happened right here. Right here. Right here. Neighbors turned out to offer us water. It was sad. It was so sad. And I mean, if you lived here in the 60s, you saw the desegregation of the public schools. You saw fathers that would get in their cars and follow those buses. to make sure their sons and daughters got off and got in one piece. Hurt my heart. I remember when Emmett Till was assassinated, and it was all over TV screens, and parents were afraid. They were afraid. They actually showed him in the casket. And you know, I was born and raised in this city. And so you have to know that it was really painful. I lived at 910 West 29th Street, within walking distance of Riverside Park. But we couldn't go. It was the largest amusement park in the Midwest. And the buses came right to our house. We couldn't go. And when you went to the store and you pulled a ticket at the meat counter, no matter what your ticket was, you wasn't getting waited on till everybody white was out of the store. How do you explain that to kids? It was really rough, not only in this city and this country, but indeed throughout the world. And so on today, my sister gave you a call and response. Her book is about call and response. Because you know, that is the drumbeat that can go from village to village and deliver messages. Because see, we have always been a people that can get our message across. But now on today, I would like to issue a call to action. Because people are wondering, what are we doing? What are we doing about our current situation? The cavalry is not coming to save us. General Gordon Granger is not coming back to help us. All that we have is us. That's all we have. And we ought to do something. You know, just a few days ago, we celebrated Juneteenth. And you know, a lot of states have made it a state holiday, including Indiana, and I'm glad about that. But it needs to be a national holiday. People need to be able to get out and work and do what they do on other days. It needs to be legal. And to that end, I'm putting the call out that we pressure people to do just that. Because as long as we do nothing, they do not care. So here is my proposal. I'm asking that we extend Juneteenth ourselves until the end of this month. I'm asking that we post on all forms of social media about Juneteenth celebrations, have pictures up, do something to keep Juneteenth alive. You do know that Black History Month started out as Negro History Week with Carter G. Woodson. And if we try, if we do something, because like they say, people cannot continue to walk all over you if you're standing up. And so my appeal today is that we stand, that we choose to stand, not asking for money, not asking you to march past some angry dogs and fire hoses, just asking that you do something. It is my prayer that when I get home, I will see some posts, I will see some emails about different celebrations. Because when look at celebrations, if you would. We celebrated Memorial Day a few weeks ago. And they would have you to think that Memorial Day is about mom and some apple pie and some people decorating their loved ones' graves. And I don't have anything against any of that. But why don't they tell you that some black men discovered some Union soldiers that had been tortured and thrown into a mass grave in a Confederate army post. And they moved in and unearthed all of them and placed them in individual graves. And then the town turned out with flowers to commemorate these strong soldiers. Why don't they tell you that? Why don't they tell you what Memorial Day really is? See, half of our stuff has been stolen, just as we were, and hidden. And we ought to want to do something. We ought to want to do something about it. And my friend Faye came in, she's sitting back there. She is from Galveston. And she was telling me about how Galveston used to be and how it is now, because she travels there often. And so I am just so happy. I am just so proud. I would want to be any other nationality because I am an overcomer. We had to be 10 times faster and 100 times better. But we are of the opinion that somebody else's ice is colder. We spend too much time arguing with one another to try to get something done. And I just want to I want to see by a show of hands, who's going to answer my call to action on the day? Who's going to tell somebody about Juneteenth? Who's going to post something about Juneteenth? Because see, it starts always, any movement starts off small. You have to start it. People have to look at it a million times. What are they doing? What are they talking about? Before they decide to do something. But just think about if you were in a situation and you didn't have time to think about it. Suppose it was your son that got shot 10 times in the back because a policeman was fearing for his life and he didn't have nothing. Supposing it was your mother that got wrestled to the ground. It is just time that we stand. And I'm praying that on today, on right now, that you stand. And I'm so proud and I'm so happy that this is being held right here in the CBLC. Because if there's anything that you need to know, anything that I said that you don't believe, this whole section is dedicated to the Center for Black Leadership and Literature and Culture. Read about Carter G. Woodson. Read about some of them. Read about W.E.B. Du Bois. Read about any of them. Get your library card out. Have no need to tell you information that is untrue. Because like I tell everybody, I attended an historically black college and university. It is my duty to let people know our history. Thank you so much. God bless you.